factory and go to the Robin Adair. Just gotta know that the railway bridge, there must be a along there. The lassies are lost and cripples up the mains with high like this. And the children are guys with broken nose down the train. Oh, yeah, you should have seen us down. Passing the folks along the road just as they were down. All the lads and lads there are always smiling faces. Down along the Scotswood Road. Got the wind put on the river went again. Well, then have my noses probably good by now again. Some went to the dispensary, some to the business, and some began to marry road to the road to business. Oh, my lads, you should have seen us down. Passing the boats along the road just as they were sound. All the lads and lads there, all the smiling faces, down along the Scotswood Road. To paradise, the body gave me good. There was 420 on the bus, flower were dancing sun. The crowd of me digging, there was sang a song with Paddy Fagan. I danced the jig and I swung me quick the day I went to play. Oh, my lad, you sure have seen us down. Passing the folks along the road just as they were stand. All the lads and lads there, all the smiling faces, down along the Scotswood Road. Right into Blayton. The bellman is just calling there, they call him Jackie Brown. I saw him talking to some chaps, and then he was persuading. Then down to see Geordie Ridley, show the tracks out of the lane. Oh, yeah, you should have seen us down. Past the roads along the road, just as they were stand. All the lads and lasses there, all the smiling faces, down along the Scotswood Road. Spice cards, monkey shows, our wives and cider, and chapel hearts we rode the bush and down my lads for riding. Oh, we lads, you should have seen us down. Past the boats along the road just as they were stand. All the lads and lads there, all the smiling faces, down along the Scotswood Road.
And we're moving back on the river for the next song. It's about Bob Chambers. And some of the rowing songs are about particular races, but this talks a lot about Bob Chambers' his life and his attitude towards always being a very straight rower and a very honest rower. Some of these people, when they got on the river, they'd put the oars into the women's corsets just to cause an upset. Some of them used tricks that's even used today. They would persuade somebody to swim across the river in the way of the boat. So you say these things, but Bob Chambers was a very straight man. And also the delight, of course, was that they licked the cockneys. There's a lot of this licking the cockneys in these songs. It was after Newcastle beat Chelsea in 1642. And Geordie wanted to see Queen Elizabeth because he had a bit of time before the train. And he says, "No then, Liz," he says, I'm welcome here, she says, I am having trouble with rust on me leaks. He says, "You're not very warm either, that fire's terrible," she says, "You can't get the wood, you know." So she says, have you got a present for me? He says, well, do you like presents? Oh, she says, aye. I'll give presents up now. There was this chap called Waller and he put his duffel coat down for us. Went on to Plodger with a cloth to open the fair. And I gave him a present, I did. I paid his fare to go to America to look for gangsters and film stars. And he come back and he brought me a present. Johnny was getting a bit twisty-fierce about all this. He says, what did he bring you? She says he brought us a big bag of baccy and I was dying for a smoke. And in return I bought her a bike factory in Nottingham. So Johnny was thinking, hey, I've got to beat this. He said, I brought you a present and Henny, there you are, Lizzie. She says, what's that? What's that black stuff? He says, it's coors, man. She says, well, what, you put them on rings and round your neck? Well, no, he says, that's stupid. You think we are thick up there? We're on the terms of sort of you. Anyway, he says you hide it on the fire. She says, you daft bugger to put the fire out. You hide it on the fire in Buckingham Palace and had a fireplace like this. And by God, the flames got so high, she started hitching up her skirts and minding. I used to wear a lot of petticoats and them ease, she says, this will save a fortune on Western petticoats. Mind, the trade was carried on for years and years and years. And that's how we get all our songs from the coal trade. But as well as that, we like the cockneys. Oh, you cockneys all, you mun think it's very funny, for Bobby Gans and licks you all and colours all your money. Wherever he roars, he always goes. You've heard it from Terry. The whole hog on. Wherever he roars, he always goes. The whole hog on. It's nothing that Ridley used to like better than a nice hog roast. Now, lads, you've heard of Chambers. He beat the Australian Green. For pulling the skiff, there is no doubt he's the best there's ever been. He's a regular locomotive speed, he's a price on the street. Wherever he pulls with a pair of skulls, and he puts on every school. Sing! Oh, you cockneys all, in the think it's very funny, for all we got to lose and all, cause all your money. Wherever he goes, he always goes, oh, all the down. Wherever he goes, he always goes, oh, all the down. I hear when Bob was 9-year-old, he played the harp for skill. He often would steal a boat away and can't have a pull. His father often tanned his hide, but Bobby didn't care. No, father, he says, if you give him brace, I'm sure I'll do it like Anna. Oh, you got these all, you think it's very funny, but Bobby Gans and Licks and all, that's all your money. Whenever he goes, he always goes the whole hog and down. Wherever he goes, he always goes the whole hog and down. Bob struggled hard from being a band, but look where he is now. He puddled and walk a rolling bill, but he pulled himself straight through. I hope each job he takes in hand, he'll always have fair play, and thinking number one that is, never give a chance away. Oh, you cockneys all, you think it's very funny, for all we got to lose your hand, cause all your money. Wherever he goes, he always goes, oh, all the long. Wherever he goes, he always goes, oh, all the long. Now when Bob and Green the pulled their match, this Green looked very wild. He took the lead from Bob at first, till they got up beyond a mile. But Harry came Bob the office then, saying how nearly 10 to 8. The reporter of the Chronicle said that Greeny then turned white. Oh, you cockneys all, you think it's very funny, for all we got to lose and all, cause all your money. Wherever he goes, he always goes, oh, all the down. Wherever he goes, he always goes, oh, all the down. select both green and white, Kelly, Everson and I, and Cooper put the Mackie on and stopped the Cockney's draw. This green would fear old Bob again, but he cannot raise the stake. The Monday think to catch him fast asleep, but he's always wide awake. Oh, the Cockney's on, you think it's very funny, oh, he dances loose and out, oh, wherever he goes, he always goes the whole all along. Wherever he goes, he always goes the whole all along. Take Bob Allen, all as Shakespeare says, we'll never see his like again. He wasn't an unjust thing to hurt poor working men. When if he can, he isn't lad, so get your money on. For where he shows, he always goes. Oh, no.
I shouldn't have put it down, should I? There it is, there it is. Right, interesting to note that George Ridley's heyday, after only a few short years, almost exactly coincides with the American Civil War. So, of course, the big topical issue of the day was what was going on the other side of the Atlantic. And it did affected the economy here and everything, you know, just as things in Europe affect us, things in America affected us then. And so, perhaps inappropriately, in November 1861, a group came to Newcastle and performed the original Christie's Minstrels. And Ridley must have seen these, because he was obviously very influenced by these blackface minstrel songs that were performed in Newcastle in that year. And he wrote a lot of his tunes were pinched from these minstrel songs that he heard. And this one in particular is the most famous of those songs, Dixie's Land. And for this song, Ridley dressed as a keelman on the Tyne. A keelman for Cowan's Brickworks just by the Tyne Bridge. And of course there would be real keelmen in the audience. These were the real jack lads of the Tyne. You know, these boys were the top dogs on the river in the city in those days. You know, they had their own hospital and everything. They were real top men. And but of course, he's obviously not such a great keelman because in the song he goes aground on a sandbank and has to stay in the boat all night waiting for the high tide to float him off again. So this must have been hilarious to the real rivermen who would be in the audience, you know, because they probably experienced things like that, or came across people who had experienced things like that. So that'd be a real big joke at the time. So this is the Bladen Keelman. And to the tune of Dixie's Land. 1, 2. Oh lads, I'll turn the keelman, now we fan and draw. We stop with blue on the Tyne, on the Tyne, on the Tyne, on the Tyne. In Bladen, now with bread and bone, on the New Year's Day, on the Tyne, on the Tyne, on the Tyne, on the Tyne. I never will be Bladen, ah-ho, ah-ho. For Bladen I was bred and born, I never will be Bladen, ah-ho, ah-ho. The Bladen lasts forever, ah-ho, ah-ho. The Bladen lasts forever. With all chickens and hardy only class 182 in a boat that can't pull faster on the tide. On the tide, on the tide, on the tide. And there's Winship and Harrison Jack, he's forward again, the wall and back. On the tide, on the tide, on the tide, on the tide. And never will be there. As born, lost one tide and paddle like a morn. On the tide, on the tide, on the tide, on the tide. And never will be there. But it played out with them. And never will be there. It'll never last forever. It'll never last forever. Going for the tide, commissioners will find that town. On the tide, on the tide, on the tide, on the tide. She's always towing ballast keels, Luna with the dredge yard down at shields. On the tide, on the tide, on the tide, on the tide. And they all will be great. But it made all is red. Oh, they all will be great. On the tide, on the tide, on the tide, on the tide. We're up to link them bunny and our war commanders coffee Johnny. On the tide, on the tide, on the tide, on the tide. I never will leave there. I'm playing out with them. I never will leave there. The living lasts forever. George one born on the tide, on the tide, on the tide, on the tide. In Robson Street we'll live together on our walk on the keel, along with a fellow on the tide, on the tide, on the tide, on the tide. And never will be there. But it played out with them. Oh, never will be there. The living lasts forever.
Man around it supported the North, you know.
John Wilson of Sandgate was a famous character on Tyneside. He was a waterman and he hired out boats on the Tyne for sixpence a time. And because of this, he had an intimate knowledge of the river and all of its idiosyncrasies. So when anyone fell in or was pushed in or hid in, and I have intimate knowledge of this, my own great-grandfather was fished out at the time dead, and to this day we don't know whether he was murdered or whether he was just drunk and fell or whatever. But he was one of the ones, maybe one of the bodies fished out by John Wilson, who was known as Cuckoo Jack because his father made and mended cuckoo clocks, and so they called him Little Cuckoo Jack. And anyway, he picked up, because he was a waterman, went out with his boats and viewed the river. He picked up the dead and the undead, the drowning. Unfortunately,
Everybody else said that on it.
Unfortunately, the corporation, in their wisdom, paid him 10 shillings for live uns and 15 shillings for dead uns. Many people suspected that he didn't try to save the drum at all. So anyway, Wilson had just died. In December 1860, Wilson died. In July 1861, Richard Granger, the architect who designed much of the finer parts of Newcastle, died 6 months later. So Ridley, who always wrote about people, not about events, wrote about people, had to write these people into his song. And this song, originally called Newcastle Eccentrics, became known as Newcastle Celebrities, and it's about all of these great celebrities of Newcastle. Some dead, some still alive. William Armstrong and Clasper and Chambers still living, of course, at this time. But so he included them all in this epic song of his Newcastle celebrities. And here we go. The day I found I'd have a walk, I wandered through the cave. I met men with Jack and Ranta, they were drunk as they could be. They just told the customs and the fishwives many a score. Shooting by my car, I heard a hit, and I asked for nothing more. I asked for nothing more. I asked for nothing more. Shooting by my car, I heard a hit, and I asked for nothing more. I could go jack his deed and gun, some called him a knave. But he saved many a mother's bed for having a watery grave. Deed bodies, he got many a one, just thrown by the North Shore. If you paid cuckoo for his labour, he would ask for nothing more. He would ask for nothing more. He would ask for nothing more. If you paid cuckoo for his labour, he would ask for nothing more. Dickie Granger's hooked a tea, he must have been a strange creature to build such streets as Grey Street and such a fine theatre. If they only had but let him live to the age of 80, he would finish Stevenson's monument and would ask for nothing more. I would ask for nothing more. I would ask for nothing more. He would finish Stevenson's monument and would ask for nothing more. There's Sir William Armstrong, knighted by the Queen, for making these guns for government, the like was never seen. And sure the foreign folk come here to invade what can he show. If we got the Armstrong, we would ask for nothing more. We'd ask for nothing more. We'd ask for nothing more. If we got the Armstrong, we would ask for nothing more. You all know Harry Clasper, he's an on the 10 for pulling boats and building them, he get all the rest would share. There's Chambers, Bishop and Little Jack will join in the fower or if we only build the companies, we will ask for nothing more. We'll ask for nothing more. We'll ask for nothing more. If we only build the companies, we'll ask for nothing more. There's the porter boatman that walks upon the quay. These is the chaps for joking and they off get on the spree. They are all concert gunners for singing the do-a-do. Give them a fair day's wage and a fair day's walk and they'll ask for nothing more. They'll ask for nothing more. They'll ask for nothing more. Give them a fair day's wage and a fair day's walk and they'll ask for nothing more.
Oh, yeah.
This was another chap who was a bit of a celebrity, called Jack Spencer. He was a bit of a, sort of, he was a street hawker really, and he did all sorts of, he looked at me, I mean, I think he did anything but walk. And I knew people like that.
I sort of love it.
Yes. Most of my relations still a bit like that, you know what I mean? So anyway, this is it's got a chorus. It's 200, but most people now sort of know as Courtney in the Kitchen. It's got a chorus. Cock-a-doodle-doo, cock-a-doodle-doo, cock-a-doodle-doo. I'll say that again. I can see it's getting late at night. I get myself. Cock-a-doodle-doo, 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 cock-a-doodle-doo. I got that? Yeah. Anyway, and when I first saw this song, I thought, I wonder if we sang this. You know what I mean? Just do your best thing, you know. Jack Spencer, I about the truth. I tried to keep your spirits up when you left and go. I'm not like a beast that treat. Tells you how to get to heaven. I've had to hard your hearts to cheer, and you'd be sad on the stair. Backcombs, sidecombs, earrings, breastpins, and steel pins. Try the picture dirt, but that soon turned out still. And then a quack duck got a call, and the flaps I used to nil. But one day a buggy, he nailed me, a standing in the street, and tied the man as he took me up, and kept me there all night. I get up the next morning and ran up to Clayton Street. I counted the youth, the sound of the clock, and my box was there I'll read. They had half our thing with Alan Scott, and each of us had a glass of whiskey. Adam danced the hornpipes fine, me said I sang the way all day.